Carries the Grace said, "Descend into the depths of your heart, and there do battle with the devil." This is very good advice. Descend into the depths of your heart, and there do battle with the devil. Today I want to talk to you. The sermon today is called Love is a Battlefield. No, I'm not going to start reciting Pat Benatar lyrics. I'm not going to start singing. That would be terrible for everyone involved. Love is a battlefield, though. The love that's been given to us, we have been given as a charge to keep and to bestow upon others. I want to talk to you a little bit as if you were all catechumens today, and about coming into the church. I wanted to clear up some issues that I hope that you'll understand. If you have come into the church to be made comfortable, you will be sadly disappointed. If you come to the church to be entertained every Sunday, the spectacle of the worship, the pomp and majesty of the liturgy, you will be let down. If you have come to the church to be served, to be treated as great, to be treated as a great leader amongst men, sadly, you must be the least to do that. Even the bishop, even the priest, the deacon, all the clergy realize that any power that's been given to them is the power to serve. The church has been called a hospital for those who are in sin. It is. I'll tell you this, it's also a hospital right on the front lines of the battle. You see, dear Christians, we've come here not to be served or to be comfortable, to be dressed in our finest, and to come to God as in these neat little clean white robes that we have, that we don't really have here on earth, do we? We're dirty, we're beaten up, we come straight from the battlefield into the headquarters to receive our marching orders. You see, Christians, you've been called to become warriors. You've been called to become soldiers of the faith. You've been called to go out into that world and go into the front lines and hand-to-hand combat with the evil one. You will come across principalities, orders of demons. You will come face to face with evil itself. Sometimes in sublime ways, you'll perceive evil happening because of people's behaviors and people's attitudes. Sometimes it'll be much more grotesque than that. Some people come forward and deal with people in authority. They give them these thorns in the flesh and try to take them away from the faith. Yea, even some of these people in authorities count themselves amongst those in the church. Dear one, let me tell you, you will be made dirty. You will get your face dirty in the muck of this world as you go forward. You will fight. You will sometimes fall along the way and you will become wounded. The wounds can be healed, though. And they teach us something about living this faith. In the West, they just recently celebrated the feast day for St. Lawrence of Rome. Now, St. Lawrence of Rome was one of my favorites. He was pre-schism. Lawrence was a deacon in the church. And Lawrence was given, when he was made a deacon in this church, he was given charge over the material well-being of the church. In other words, it was the deacon's job to make sure that all that needed to be there was there. And so he saw where things needed to be done. He saw where things needed to be with the sacred vessels, with the church edifices, the people who were in the congregation, their needs. And so what he did was, he went out and sold furnishings that the church didn't need, got the money, and made sure the community was taken care of. Made sure that all in the church needed to be done in a way that it was needed to be done, that it was there and it was in proper use, and that it was set. And when the Roman emperor of that time saw that the church where Lawrence was at was prospering. He thought to himself, well, then I need to get tribute because this is obviously a wealthy church and they're doing very well for themselves, and I need money for my troops. I need money to build my armies here locally so that I can go on campaigns and increase my revenue. And so he contacted Lawrence and brought him into his presence and told Lawrence that, I need some of the treasures of the church so that I can use them. And so Lawrence asked him, said, can I have some time to get them together? And he said, yes. And so Lawrence took the time, and what he did was he went out into the streets and he gathered all the beggars, he gathered all the lame people, the lepers, the people who were blind, deaf, the very lowest dregs of society. And what he did was he brought them all into the church. The emperor came. Lawrence led him into the room. He opened the doors and he looked at all the people and he put his hand out and says, these, dear emperor, these are the greatest treasures of the church. The emperor was so enraged that he caused an iron grate to be made and was put upon a fire, and Lawrence placed upon that iron grate, and he died a martyr's death of being slowly roasted alive. The thing that was very interesting and why I think Lawrence is one of my favorites is because as he was being roasted, he placed his head up and faced his tormentors and said, turn me over, for I am done on this side. Such is the attitude we must have. Saint Stephen, the proto-martyr, was stoned to death because of who he was. Many saints have died a martyr's death. Many saints have gone that road and they have fought incredible evils. Did they come to the church to be served? No. Did they come to the church thinking that they were going to be enshrined in these beautiful robes and that everything was going to be pretty, it's going to be like heaven on earth? No. The church militant is called that for a reason. The church militant upon the earth is the church that fights. It's the church that deals with the front lines of evil. And so you shall too. Will there be times in your life where you'll feel like you're giving up the faith? Yes. Will there be times in your life when you'll feel like it's not worth it? Yes. One particular person who was having a crisis of the faith and wondering if they should go forward asked me, I just don't think that I need to go forward. I just don't think that that's worth it. I said, really? So let me ask you a question. I remember when we were talking, I said, you told me that you felt it was God who has called you to this office. Let me ask you the question. Do you feel that it was God calling you to do this, or perhaps man? He never answered me because he knew what I would say. If God calls you to do something and you don't do it, you find yourself fighting against God. But if it's man that has called you, perhaps you shouldn't do it in the first place. And so the issue, dear ones, is that the question I will pose to you folks: do you feel like it's God that has called you together to come out of where you were and become Christians and to become in the faith, be soldiers of the faith? Because if God hasn't called you, then dear ones, who has? Why are you here? God calls his chosen out, leads you to his altar. That's the place where heaven and earth meet. That's the place where we come to meet Christ. People will say, well, you need a personal relationship with Jesus. Dear ones, how much more personal can it get than partake of his body and drink of his blood? When's the last time you saw a miracle? Last week. Every Sunday, you partake of the Eucharist. You partake in a miracle. And so, dear ones, your comrades in arms are waiting for you on the other side. They've run the race. They fought the battles. They now intercede upon you, even now. They intercede on your behalf. This is what we call the communion of saints. And they're praying for you. Pray for me and know that my prayers are for you. One day, meet together in that great cloud of witnesses. And we will be interceding for those who come after us. Dear ones, it's a battle. Get involved in the battle. Love. Love that Christ gave to us. Love is a battlefield. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.